Hi Seahawks, we're going to take notes today on fractions, decimals, and percents. And basically we're going to just be converting fractions to decimals, fractions to percents, decimals to fractions, decimals to percents, percents to decimals, percents to fractions. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. And I believe we've talked about this before, how, when you get a test grade of an 88%, that's an 88 out of 100. All percents are based off of 100. Okay, so when you are converting a percent to a decimal, you can do this two different ways. You could move the decimal two places to the left, or you could divide by 100, which is basically what you are doing when you move the decimal two places to the left. You have three examples there, 28%. 28%, if you look at a number, your decimal is at the end of the number, okay? So with the number 28, right now you have your percent symbol over here. That's where your decimal is for this one. Oopsie, sorry. Your decimal is here. And if you are going to change that, and here's, let's say, our percent symbol, okay? We're going to move the decimal two places to the left, okay? And that would give us our decimal of 0.28, or you would say that properly, 28 hundredths. Okay, and doesn't that make sense that 28%, well, a percent is based off of 100, and you have 28 hundredths when you write it as a decimal. Okay, 375%. You have 375%. You're going to take your decimal, which right now you don't have a decimal. It's right here. Okay, and you're going to move this decimal. The heck is this? I'm not really sure what that was, so hold on one second. Okay, so you're going to take your decimal and you're going to move it two places to the left. So you're going to have 3.75. That would be your answer, changing your percent to a decimal. 3 75 hundredths. Okay, and the last one, you have 12.5%. What I would do is I would change that fraction to a decimal, so you know where your decimal is. You have 12.5, 1/2 is 0.5%, and you're going to move this decimal two places to the left, so you're left with 0.125, which is 125 thousandths. And that's all you have to do when you're converting a percent to a decimal. A good way to remember, kids get confused on which way to move the decimal, left or right. Okay, well, your percent symbol is here on the right, so you're going to move it to the other side. And I remember 2 because you have these two little zeros here, okay? 2 little zeros, that's 2 places, and then you're going to just move it to the opposite side, away from where it is, to the left. Okay, I just wanted to show you if you have 28%, and the other way I told you is you could divide by 100. So you could do 28 divided by 100, okay? Well, how many times does 100 go into 28? It doesn't, so you'd have a 0. You'd have to add a decimal here and a 0, okay? Another 0, and you're going to say, how many times does 100 go into 280? It goes into 280 2 times, and 2 times 100 is 200. Here we're going to subtract. We got 8, okay? And we're going to bring down another 0, and 100 goes into 800 8 times. 8 times 100 is 800. And you subtract there, and you get 0.28. I just wanted to show that to you. That's your other option. I feel like just moving the decimal two places to the left is the best way, but let's say you forget how to move the decimal. That's your other option. You're dividing by 100, and just remember a percent out of 100. Okay, now we're going to talk about percents to fractions, and to write a percent as a fraction, express the ratio as a fraction with a denominator of, express it as a ratio with a denominator of 100. A percent is out of 100, so doesn't that make sense? So you're going to take your number, which is 45, okay, percent, and we're just going to write 45 over 100, okay? And of course you always simplify, okay? And 45 and 100, you know that's divisible by 5 because you have 1 and a 5 and a 0. 5 goes into 45 9 times. 5 goes into 100. Oops, no it doesn't, not 50, sorry. 20 times, 9/20. Okay, 120%. So you're going to take your 120 and put it over 100. Okay, every percent's out of 100. Have you ever gotten anything over 100 on a test? You can with like extra credit or something. You get over 100. If you hand in your take-home tests early, you get extra credit. And if you look at your grades, if you got a perfect take-home test and then you got, let's say, 2 points extra credit, it would be a 22 out of 20, which would give you 110. Okay, so let's look at this one. 120 over 100. You write it out of as a ratio over 100, and then you simplify. Here's something I want to show you when you're simplifying, a quick way to simplify. When you have two zeros like that, they kind of cancel out. Now I have 12 and 10. It kind of simplifies a little bit faster. Okay, we can still simplify that more. 2 goes into both 12 and 10. 2 goes into 12 6 times, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. And I would leave it as 6/5. I guess I would just leave it like that, you know me. But 1 1/5, I guess it's not wrong. I would write it as the fraction, the improper fraction though. Okay, for number 6, you have 0.5%. To eliminate the decimal in the denominator, I would convert the percent to a decimal and then convert the decimal to a fraction and simplify. I should have given you those notes first, but we'll go over it now while we're at it. Okay, if it's 0.5%, to change that to a decimal, we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the left. So we have 0.005. And when you're converting a decimal to a fraction, we didn't get to that part on our notes yet, say that properly. That would be said as 5, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it would be 5 thousandths. And we could simplify that. We know 5 goes into both of them. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 1,000. Well, 5 goes into 10 2 times, so it would be 200. 1 over 200. Okay, and all of these you're going to be expected to do without a calculator, so we're not using calculators for this section. Now we're going to convert a decimal to a percent. 2 different ways. You can move the decimal 2 places to the right. Where's your percent symbol always written? It's always on the right-hand side of the number. That's how you could remember to change a decimal to a percent. You can move the decimal 2 places to the right and then just add the percent symbol. Or you can multiply by 100 and add the percent symbol. Okay, so let's look at number 7. We have 0.35. If we move the decimal 2 places to the right, we have 35, and you just write the percent symbol, percent, 35%. Okay, and here we have 0.007. Here's my decimal. I'm going to move it 2 places to the right. So in this case, I have 0.7%. And when you have those, you want to make sure you could see that decimal. And for number 9, we have 1.67. We're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So we will have 167%. Okay, and now I just want to show you if you multiply by 100. Okay, so if we had, what did we have? 0.35, and if we multiplied that by 100, Okay. You would do 0, 0. 1 times 5 is?
5.
1 times 3 is?
3.
And you're going to move the decimal 2 places. 1, 2. So I'm at 35%. Same thing. I think moving the decimal to the right is the easier way, but in case you forget, multiply by 100. Okay, now let's take a look back at changing a decimal to a fraction.
Am I doing the rhyme?
Okay, now we're going to talk about decimals to fractions. So we're going to say the decimal correctly, then write it. And I mentioned this earlier in example number 6. How would you say number 10? You would say that as 35. This is your tenths. This is your hundredths. So it's 35 hundredths. Okay? So you're just going to write that the way I just said it. 35
hundredths.
Which is 35 over 100. I think I'm going to change my color there because I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that green.
Change it to red.
Red?
No, red.
Okay. 35 over 100. And we need to always simplify, so we know that 5 goes into both of them. What's 35 divided by 5?
35 divided by 5 equals...
5 times what is 35?
Oh, that's what you meant. 35 divided by 5 equals 7.
Okay. And 100 divided by 5, do you know that one, right?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. 10.
No.
I mean, 20.
20. Good job. 7/20. Okay. Now we have 0. Now we would say this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So it's 7 10,000ths. That one is a toughie. But you will be expected to write that. And you cannot simplify that because the only thing you'd have to think about, does 7 go into 10,000 evenly? And it does not. So that would be simplified. Okay, and the last one, 1.67. That would be 1 67 hundredths. Good. So we would write that as 1 67 over 100. And that's already simplified for us, so we don't have to worry. And you could leave it like that, or you could write it as 167 over 100 as well. I would write that, but I don't have room right now. Okay, let's see.
I already know what to do in the Ryan show. Okay, the next few we have changing a fraction to a decimal. And this one's pretty difficult. And I didn't give you any examples that would make this easy. Maybe I'll add one to this. When Auntie Claire was talking to Ray, did he say?
So these are the most difficult, and I think I gave you pretty difficult ones. But you're just going to divide the numerator by the denominator. And I'm actually going to do these on a blank page because I need room for these. So number 13, I'm just going to write a 13 here so you know which one I'm on. We have 12 over 19. We're going to take 12 and divide it by 19. And these are pretty ugly numbers, but we're going to manage with this. Okay, 19 doesn't obviously go into 12. This is obviously going to be a decimal, so you're going to add a decimal here. Okay, and put one there. And 19 goes into 120. Well, if you figure 20 into 120, that would be 6 times. So 19 should go into 120 6 times. 6 times 9 is 54. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 5 is 11. Subtract here. 10 minus 4 is 6. And 1 minus 1, we're good there. Okay, we're going to add another 0. 19 goes into 60 3 times. Well, 3 times 20 would be 60, so 3 times 19 has to be 57. Subtract here, and you get 3 and a 0. Oops, that's a 0. 19 goes into 30 one time. That would be 19. That would be 11 left over. 110 would be 5. So this is obviously a crazy decimal. And I think you could stop there at the thousandths. And we're going to say that 12/19 written as a decimal is 0.63. And if we're going to round that, we're going to round that to, okay, since this is a 5, we're going to round our 1. It's not going to stay 1, it's going to go up to a 2. And that would be your answer for number 13.6. I'm sorry, 0.632. And it would, or you would say 632 thousandths, and that's rounded. That's an estimate.
Mommy. I'm sorry.
Okay, we have 22/27. So here we're just going to divide the numerator by the denominator. 22 divided by 27. Obviously doesn't go in it. We're going to add a decimal and a 0. I'm sorry, that is a 37 on the paper, not a 27. Okay. So 22 divided by 37. So 22 divided by 37, we added our 0. That would be 5. 5 times 7 is 35. 15, and that would be 18. And then we subtract. Okay, 10 minus 5 is 5. 2, that would be an 11. And that would be a 3. 35. We're going to bring down another 0. Oops, I forgot to bring my decimal up there. Okay, 37 goes into 350. That can't be 10. It's got to be 9 times. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 6. 33. Subtract. And we got to borrow here. 10 minus 3. 170. Bring down another 0. 37 goes into 170. I'm going to guess that's about 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 3 is 12. I'm sorry. Yeah, 12. And that's a 2. It gets a little sloppy here. That would be 14. Okay, and this will be our last time because after this one we're going to round. So this would be a 6 and a 1, that's a 2 and a 2, 220, so that would be 5 times again. It looks like it might be a repeating decimal. It is 5 times 7. It's going to be the same exact thing. So now we know that it would be 0. Well, if you're going to round it, 22/37, I would say 0.595, or if you realize that it was going to be a repeating decimal, it would be 594 repeating, and that would be fine to write it like that as a decimal. When you're going to a fraction to a decimal, you're writing it as a decimal. That would be appropriate. Okay, and then we have 29/50. So the best way to do this is I would put it over 100. So you know 29/50ths, if you multiply by 2, you would have 100. So if we multiply this times 2, we would have, 58 hundredths. So now I would just write that as a decimal. 58 hundredths would be 0.58. I just wanted to show you if you had something easy like that, that's how you would do that. Okay? So I changed that last one on 15 for you to make it so you could see. If you had like over 20ths, you would multiply by 5. 10s, you'd multiply by 10. Just to put it over 100, that'll make it easier to write as a decimal off the top of your head without doing that messy long division. Okay. Okay, in this last part, we're converting from a fraction to a percent. So we already have 12/19 as a decimal. We had that as, that one was, so first you'd convert it to your fraction to a decimal, and then you just change your decimal to a percent by moving the decimal 2 places to the right. So 12/19 we had as 0.632. Okay, so once you have that as your decimal, you're going to just move your decimal 2 places to the right. So that would see 63.2%. This is for number 13. Sorry. Oops. I wrote on the paper, so I can't take a picture of it. So that's for 13. Okay, for 14, we already wrote that as a decimal, 22 over 37. Now, that is a repeater decimal. I'm not going to go into that right now. We will just write that as 0.59. We said that would be 5. Okay, and we're just going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. 59.5%. And I've talked to you about the repeating decimals more so maybe in my 8th period class, how you could write that, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to worry about changing it to a decimal, rounding it is fine, and then moving the decimal 2 places to the right. Okay, and number 15, we had 29 over 50. And we multiplied that by 100, so we got, by 2, so we got 100, and that was 58 over 100, right? Okay, so to write that as the decimal there was 0.58. And all you're going to do to write that as a percent is move your decimal 2 places to the right, and you have 58%. I used the same examples from before to make that easier on us, but that's how you would do that. Okay, if you have any questions, please make sure you write them down, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Oh, I think Ryan has a show for you. Hold on. You're recording.
Hello, everybody. It is so dumb. Look at this. I just said 46. I guessed.
But your mom said, as long as you try your best, it doesn't matter.
But my mom said nothing about this happening. She said it was going to be so easy.
I didn't say
but
that.
it didn't.
I did not say that.
She probably said to you it was going to be easy. Some parents, I guess, lie. I want to take a picture. What?
Take that back.
What?
That your parents lie.
Well, the teacher said it would be easy too. A lot of kids,
Okay, well, you still have
even the richer and talented in my class, didn't finish.
Gifted and talented.
So, I'm going to erase this. This is me in hottie version. And this is me. What the heck are you doing? So, like, this is me in pretty version. And this is me. How do you turn this? A lot of red. And then I want this much green. And I think that's good. Yeah.
Ryan, wrap it up.
Okay, here. And this is me with dark version. Not done, so you guys need to wait a minute. Where's the black? There's black. There. There. I sometimes like to be evil when I'm in games because it makes me look evil. I want to see what this is. And I sometimes even have scars when I'm evil. But they're scary. Saw this TV show that this guy had a scar through his eye. Gonna make a nice orangey color. Oh, I like this. Then this. It's just a little something. I like this. It's like a bunch of dots. Don't you guys like it? It's like a swirl, a tornado of dots. Oh. Then this. I just wanted to make this because it looked really cool. And, ooh, what is this?
Ryan, you're recording.
Okay, and then this is going to be a box that I didn't read. Okay, I saw this also on the part test. It was pretty easy. Some things are easy and some things are hard. So, I wonder what this is. So, that's why I'm going to teach you how to make everything easy.
Okay, your time's up.
No, it's not. I can quickly do this. Come on, I need a clear page. Okay, right here I'm going to make it real quick before our time ends. Okay. You have a circle. How do you write? Okay. You're going to do everything first. You're going to flag all the hard parts. Then you're going to do the easy parts first. And then, at the end of your test, you go back to your flags so that you can check your work and check for your flags. So, that's what I did. Even though it didn't help that much, because there was like the really hard problem that I showed you before. That was the one that I had hard with. But also, my computer broke down, so I got 4 minutes more. So that's why I had a little bit more time. And so that is all I have to tell you. Bye-bye. And try your best on the park test.
Too bad they're going to see this after the park test is over for them. But they're going to do it again in May, so. You done?